Hi guys, Sam from Mindful Movement Melbourne here. This is your 10-minute sleep sequence. So this is a beautiful practice that you can do just to wind you down at the end of the day and get you ready for a nice night of slumber. A couple of props that you're going to need for this practice this evening. You're going to need a block of some kind, a folded blanket, and a pillow. Any kind of pillow will do, or you can use an extra folded blanket. You can do 2 pillows. It's just for your shavasana at the end, so whatever makes you feel most comfortable. So something that you need to know about this practice, there is a yawn. Within each asana, we'll be taking a few breaths, and at the end of 3 breaths, you'll be doing a yawn of some kind. Now, this yawn can be as big or as little as you want to make it. It does not have to be a legitimate yawn. In fact, you'll see when you see this practice, some of my yawns are quite fake. But the more you yawn, the more you remind your body it's time to wind down. It's tired, it's getting ready for sleep. And the yawn will help get your body ready for that place where you can just drift off into a nice night. So I hope you enjoy this. Please leave your comments and let me know if you have any questions. There are a few twists in here, so if you're pregnant, please modify this for yourself and make it comfortable. Thanks, guys. Happy dreaming.
Starting in a seated position on a block, you can either have shins underneath you or be in a cross-legged position, bringing one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly, fold the eyes closed, and take a few deep breaths. As you breathe, feel yourself expanding into your hands on the inhale and sinking on the exhale. Let the shoulders drop. Release the tension from the face. Let the low back be long. And take a yawn. And we're going to bring the arms up with an inhale and down with an exhale. Again, inhaling with the arms up, lengthening through the spine. Exhaling. Last time, inhaling and taking a yawn and a nice stretch. Bringing yourself into a standing position slowly. Soles of the feet coming into the ground and feeling all 4 edges of the feet pressing into the floor. Let the knees be soft and grab where it's comfortable. Start to breathe deeply into the space in the back. Inhaling and exhaling and releasing the air. And then taking a yawn, letting the arms stretch, letting the spine lengthen. Do what feels good here before walking your hands into a downward dog position. Start to breathe. Let the knees bicycle if it feels comfortable. If not, just finding a stationary place with the legs and using the breath as you bring a knee in, pressing down through an opposite heel if you choose to bicycle. Once you find stillness, allow yourself to have that little yawn before making your way down into a seated position to roll the shoulders back 3 times and then forward, making your way into a child's pose. And breathing into the space available in your child's pose, the space between the shoulder blades, into the low back. And taking your hands and walking off on the right diagonal. Take the top hand and place it on top of the bottom hand, and you're going to grip over that hand. And then sit back with the hips and find that little low back stretch. I realize you can't see my hands, but trust me, they're doing it. So coming out of that child's pose, you're going to bring the right leg forward, bring the hands down on either side, and then start to straighten through the leg to wherever is comfortable for you. It does not have to be all the way straight. Use the breath to feel what's happening in the leg. You want to have slight sensation, nothing major. And then taking your yawn. Start to sit the hips back. You're going to cross that foot over your knee and have both bum cheeks touching the ground. So if that right foot that's crossed over doesn't touch the ground, that's just fine. And sitting here into the hip stretch, having a couple of breaths before you take your yawn. And then we're going to bring this into a twist by bringing that left elbow in front of the right knee. Start with a lengthened spine as you breathe, and then allow things to rotate slowly with each new breath before you find your yawn. We'll move forward, come back to the child's pose to go into the other side. And then we'll repeat on the left side. Breathing here in child's pose. Before you walk the hand to the left, place the right hand on top and then sit back in both hips, finding a stretch in the low back. Breathing into the space available before you take your yawn. And coming out of the child's pose, we'll bring that left leg forward. And once you find square hips, we're going to bring two hands down on either side of the foot and start to straighten through the knee. Find where it's comfortable for you. Breathing here, inhaling and exhaling. I like a bit of a flex and a point here with the foot. It finds the sensation nicely for the back of my leg, but do what feels comfortable to you before you yawn. And then again, sitting it back, let that knee bend. Going to cross it over the opposite knee, and you want both bum cheeks coming down to the ground. So if you need to, you can take a block underneath your hips. Having a moment here to breathe and sink in. As I have tight hips, my knee comes up a little higher. If you have more open hips, your knee will probably fold open a bit better. And then you're going to take that right elbow on the outside of that left knee and start to rotate on your exhales, breathing in and breathing out. And then finding your yawn. From here we'll move on to hands and knees, and we're going to come into a rabbit stretch. Now if this isn't comfortable for you, then you're going to want to stand up on your feet, go back to that forward bending place, and do the same arm variation that we're about to do. So you're going to come onto the top of the head, and as you start to lean forward, interlace those hands. If you're like me, you find a random clip or pin in there. You don't want that in there. That's going to crunch on your head. So come back to that place, interlace the hands, and start to come forward, which draws the chin into the chest and stretches the back of the neck. Again, if this is not comfortable in your cervical spine, neck, please do the standing variation with the feet down and the arms dropped back behind you. Switching the grip, opposite index finger in front and thumb crossing before you come back up for 3 more breaths. And my yawn continued. It went from a fake into a real one. So we're going to come into like a puppy variation where you start with the hips over the knees. You're going to crawl down onto forearms, and then you're going to bring that left elbow to a 90-degree place outside of that left shoulder. So this should be stretching across your chest. Notice your bum is high. You're not sitting back over those heels. So all of that weight is coming into your chest, and you've turned your head to look to the right side before you come up to move to the opposite side. So again, you can't see it, but the arms come directly, upper arm directly out of the shoulder, and then that angle of the elbow is at 45 degrees. And the bum is nice and high, so it's all happening in the chest here. And then you're going to come up, keep the hips where they are, crawl those hands even farther out in front of your shoulders, and start to sit back in the chest into that puppy pose. It can be fairly intense through the armpits, through the chest. So only coming as far down as the sensation feels good to you. And this being a bit of a difficult place to yawn in. Walking those knees in, We're going to take a twist. Again, pregnancy, you'll want to modify. You're going to sit off to the side, keep the chest toward the ground, and then your head is going to turn opposite direction from the knees. Walk the arms out. Obviously, I have a wall in my way, so I can't walk my arms out straight. But if it feels good to you, feel free to walk those arms out straight. And finding your yawn at the end of your third breath. And walking yourself back up to center, you're just going to lift the knees and sweep them to the opposite side to bring that opposite hip down, to come back down onto your chest, walking yourself down and extending through those arms. Gaze opposite direction of the knees. So finishing those 3 breaths before making your way up into a seated position. Feel free to sit up on a blanket, a block, whatever makes you feel comfortable before we take 3 yawns here. So here we go. Allow these yawns to be large, big arms. Let the chest expand as you breathe in and as you breathe out. You can add a side stretch if that sounds good. Making your way into a side-lying corpse pose for a Shavasana, pillow underneath the head, folded blanket between the shins. And as you bring that head down, you're going to want to make sure that arm that's underneath is lengthened out and away from you. And as you bring your head down, you want to have your forehead higher than your chin, so adjusting your head cushion as needed before making your way into stillness.